I hate you for that, by the way.
I hate me for that too.
You're so dumb. All
I
right,
know.
hey everybody, welcome back. If this is your first time here, listening, observing, enjoying,
Feeling.
feeling, digesting, intaking absolute brilliance of content and comedy combined, this is On Thin Ice, the podcast where Jacob and I will come together weekly and discuss some kind of icebreaker question to set the mood, get the conversation flowing, and then quickly jump ship and move on to something else entirely.
Yeah, that's the routine.
Yeah. I'm gonna use that practice too when I get into classroom management in my classes. Yeah, all
Just
right, class, today we're doing this. Just kidding. Someone talk about something else. I've run out of things to say.
oh, I thought you meant you were gonna start them off with an icebreaker every day,
Good.
and then just jump ship.
Yeah. Well, I've got this one. So I've got this one. Ooh, I can use the whiteboard for this. Let's go. I've got this shit that I start with most of my classes. If the group of students is new, I've done this with a couple college classes. I'll ask them all, no matter what we're talking about. I'll be like, "Did you know that there's only one word in the English language that turns into an entirely different word if you capitalize the first letter?" And then kids are like, "Fuck you talking about?" And then I write these two on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I get that reaction. So I've written Polish and Polish on here.
Yeah. Nice.
And then the kids will be like, "Oh, whoa, whoa," and then I'll be like, "All right, now let's talk about Samuel Clemens," and just completely move on from anything else. It's got nothing to do with the lesson whatsoever.
Hell yeah. That's
Y'all can
awesome.
steal that; it works pretty effectively.
Yeah, I honestly I wouldn't have thought about that.
All right, man. Updates. How you been? I'm in school now, so I haven't talked to you for several years.
You mean 8 months? Like
Yeah,
like in the pizza verse?
yeah. It's a heavy workload, dude. Get off my balls.
Speaking of heavy workload, I haven't had one of those.
Oh, and I hope by the time this episode comes out too, you're still unemployed.
Me too. I fucking hate jobs. Oh man.
Or what would be even funnier is if you like found a four-figure, three-figure salary job
Yeah.
and you're just living life. So the next episode, you're just on the beach sipping margaritas
I've like won
on
the
the
lottery.
rocks.
I've won the lottery or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I made it big on
All right.
YouTube or something.
My update for the week. I'm never working again.
Yeah.
I did it. I beat the icebreaker episodes where I figured out what we do with unlimited money.
Yeah, no, but like when we record that episode though, I'm gonna be like, yeah, so remember like 4 episodes ago I said that I I didn't have a job and I didn't have a heavy workload? Well today I still don't, but it's because I'm filthy fucking rich.
Today I don't, and if you're wondering why I am outside, it's because I live here now. This is my box.
I kept my computer and my webcam and my all that shit. Actually, no, I'm running all this from my phone.
Times are tough. I'm making 500 grand a year though, flipping shit on eBay from Goodwill. I found a way to make it work. TikTok was right.
Honestly, yeah, no, I yeah, that's pretty much my update. I'm the exact same as I was the last we talked.
So you're not even doing anything productive with all this free time?
No, I am, but that's literally it. It's just become a routine. I get up, I make my coffee, I apply for some jobs, I call a couple back, I get rejected by the jobs and women,
Damn.
and then I do it again the next day. No, I'm just kidding. I also like been making music and shit, as you're probably aware, because I think I mentioned it before we started this. But I just put out another album. Should be like 9 songs coming out next month, as well as the
So
one that's
next
coming
month.
out next week,
Yeah, which is
and
oh man,
ours.
that's
Ours also
hey,
coming out next week.
shut up. You can't say that because next week is gonna be like March.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're recording. Sorry, it came out
So it's
a couple
coming out
weeks
three
ago.
weeks ago. I've got the same thing. I guess I can talk about it because it's released, it's set out to stores and all that. But I made a song called Godzilla, and it was pretty decent. I was happy with it because it gave me. It wasn't like dubstep. It was just the feel for like the devastation that this giant monster is and everything it stands for. A lot of orchestral stuff, and everything sounds good. I go to publish it, and the volume drops by like 200%. So I
Damn,
have it like maxed out in my car and I can still barely hear it.
damn. Did you uh
So
did you contact the TuneCore or whatever whoever you go through?
no, because I it was on TuneCore, it was on YouTube, it was everything. Like as soon as I uploaded it, it's just like, no, we're gonna be quiet now.
Yeah,
So
but
y'all get
you
to
should
have it,
you
you.
should be able to reach out
But
to them and just be like, "Hey, can I replace the audio file for that because the audio is like dampened for some reason. I have no
I'm
idea
not.
why."
I'm not gonna do that ever.
Well, I know that
It's
like
out there. Take it.
I know
This is what you have now.
there's a
Just turn up the
song
volume.
there's a song by Insiphirum, a band that I listen to that I love. I actually have Insiphirum lyrics on my arm. I love them to death. But there's a song that they have. It was a cover of an old like folk song. I can't even remember what the fuck it was, but I remember at the end of the song there was like 2 full minutes of silence, just dead silence. There was nothing playing. There was no ambience or anything. Like at the end of the song had finished. It was like a full 4 minute track or something like that, and then it was just nothing for like 2 minutes. And I remember that being the case for a long time. And then like recently, I listened to that song again, fully prepared to skip to the next one once it got to the silence again. But it actually went ahead to the next song. Like they had managed to replace the audio file on whatever they're a bigger band obviously, so whatever publishing company that they go through or whatever managed to
Oh,
switch out the track.
I was hoping it was gonna be like an instance where there's actually something in there, but they expected everyone to skip it, so they hid like a little fart noise somewhere in there
No,
at
no,
like a
no.
minute 30.
I listened to the whole thing before. I've listened to the whole 2 minute silence, and it wasn't until like the second or third time I heard it I was like, wait a minute, it should have been the next song like 2 minutes ago. The fuck is going on? And then I went back and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I started skipping it because there was nothing at the end of it. Trust me, I looked.
It's just 2 minutes of quiet prayer time to yourself
I guess.
to reflect.
But there's also a band that I know probably nobody, or at least nobody watching this, has ever heard of, but a band called Lost Eden. They only have one album out. They disbanded a long time ago. But one of my favorite Japanese metal bands of all time, love them to death. They have a song, it's one of my favorite songs by them. It's called Sandglass, and it's just acoustic guitar, really cool, peaceful melody, and it gets my jimmies off every single time. But the file that they have on Spotify is corrupt. It's fucked up.
Aw,
It's like choppy, and like you can barely hear, like you can barely listen to the whole thing without it chopping up and like skipping to random parts in the song. And I'm like, but this the part that sucks about it is this band is no longer together. So it's not like something that they're probably chomping at the bit to fix. They probably won't even notice. They probably don't give a shit. So I have a I have a copy of the album that I definitely got through a legal manner, and I listen to that instead when I want to listen to the album because it's got the actual full song that's not chopped up and fucky and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just know that there's ways you can go about replacing the audio if you wanted to. I don't know how, but I
yeah,
know you can.
but I don't want to. I might replace the one on YouTube at some point and just go back through the file and actually turn up the audio and all for everything because I have to go and everything's not synced, so I have to go through and turn up every little thing. Every single instrument has a different volume, different level of bass, and all that other stuff because I gotta tune and tweak everything. But that's all neither here nor there. I know everyone in the world has heard it, and the song's blowing up by this point. It's probably top charts right now. I didn't expect. We just talked about. I guess shit. This will be out too. Godzilla -1 minus color is going to be coming out. So maybe that'll be big promotion.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows? Who cares?
Who cares?
I don't.
Unless it is a big promotion and it like blows your shit up, then you might care.
Yeah.
But
Then we got another Black Suit Spider-Man incident where I'm the only one that hates it, and everyone else loves it.
Yeah.
No, I like making music, man. It's so much fun. But
It
that's
is.
like it's for me to make fun, not make fun, but to have fun making it.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes to make fun.
I feel you. No. Yeah. Same. I agree though. I like making it. I think it's super rewarding as well when you come up with something and it just turns out to be really fucking cool and catchy and like in your head you think about it and stuff. Like I've come up with a couple melodies that I'm just like, God damn, did that seriously just come out of my fucking head? I know I'm not that good. There's no way.
Did my computer really just make that sound?
Did I? Did Nah, it couldn't have been.
Did I just click and drag two things together and they made that noise that I make my head sound good? Make my ears feel all nice? All right, movie update time. Guess what? I uh I was sitting on the table, so I'm sure someone saw it already. I've never seen a steelbook that is like this. I'm scared to open it. I got my favorite Disney movie, Dinosaur. Not ironically, I
Fuck.
this is my favorite from the year 2000. I was born when this movie was born. We were one and the same. But it's like if I could show the size difference, this is a game steelbook, but that's Spider-Man 2. Fucking glares awesome. But like it's wide on the side and it's fucking tall. And it's got no like hinges, so it's just like a lunchbox that I don't know if you can hear that. It has a disc in it of some kind. I'm scared to open it. It's all sealed in plastic and it's got a little sticker on it that oh shit, get back up there, you fuck. That says limited series includes certificate of authenticity. So I'm like, is this a jewel? Is this a gem that I found?
What the
Am I
fuck?
plundering movies right now?
I just I guess I don't get. I mean, I get it. I know that the people that do love that movie really love that movie, but it's also like a very select few people that even know what the fuck that movie is.
Yeah, y'all need to. It is,
I
I
used,
think, without a doubt, Disney's darkest movie that they've ever made.
I
No
used to
cap.
have I used to have the VHS of that.
Oh, that's hot. I wish I had. I want VHSs, but I don't have a VCR.
We do.
That's
Deanna's got
sweet.
one. Yeah.
That's what I would
Um.
like to have Disney movies on. If I could have Mulan on a VHS, that'd be hot.
Oh, I know for a fact I've got Mulan. I know I've got the Black Cauldron. I've got. Oh, dude, we used to collect them, so I've got a bunch. Not here at this apartment, but my parents have a bunch of them in their storage. And I'm almost certain they probably still have Dinosaur somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look, or they'd have to look, but I'm almost certain they do.
I'm gonna go pay your parents a visit. I'm gonna take all your movies from your childhood.
Dude, if they look for it and find it, I'm sure they wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't give a fuck. It's my movie. Go ahead, take it.
All right. Now that
uh,
this is recorded on YouTube, I have you're legally bound to
Written
give me
permission.
this.
If I ever upload
uh,
this, I could just deny uploading this video the whole time.
you could. We could have stopped recording at 25 seconds again. We could have another lost episode right now.
Oh shit, yeah, that happened before.
Uh, do you want to hear another hot take about a movie? This will get you riled up.
Okay, rile me up.
This is actually
Rile
gonna.
me up, daddy.
This might get people to stop watching and listening because I know everyone in the world who has seen this movie is going to hate me after this. I got my hands on a new DVD of John Carpenter's Halloween 1978. I fucking hated it. It was garbage. That movie sucked ass. I know it was the original. I know it's where all the horror movie tropes started. It was so fucking horrendous.
Okay.
And I am comparing it to John Carpenter's The Thing, which came out in 1982, only 4 years fucking later,
Yeah.
which was a masterpiece.
Yeah. The Thing is way better than Halloween. I'll agree with you there. Um, I'll also agree. Okay, I don't think it was fucking. I don't think it was god awful like you're saying, but it definitely isn't great. I mean, I've never been a giant Halloween fan, to be honest with you. The movies, let's get that straight. I love Halloween, but the movies themselves, I've never been overly fond of. The the originals or the Rob Zombie remakes or the new ones, especially not the new ones. Holy fuck! But I yeah I you're not gonna get a torch and pitchfork from me, buddy.
Okay, thank God, because I know I do for every other movie opinion that I give you.
Not everyone.
I
Not
still haven't
everyone.
watched Pinocchio. I'm going to, but
Dude,
man,
the Guillermo
Halloween, so bad. Don't watch.
the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio lit. It's so good. Best Pinocchio thing that came out last year or that year, which yeah, last year. And there was like 5 different Pinocchio things that came out last year. Including one them from Disney themselves. And it was fucking awful. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, man, I love talking about this shit, but unfortunately, we have to get to the icebreaker. Unfortunately, we have stuff we have to talk
Oh
about
yeah, we're legally
because
bound by contract.
yeah, because you and I decided and locked ourselves into icebreakers as the topic for our podcast. We'll switch over to a movie review podcast at some point.
Yeah, probably.
Just to, I'll have my reign of terror where I get to decide what we do, and it's just going to be talking about movies.
Dude, we could rebrand it any time we want. We don't have the following currently at this date or this state to
You,
justify not changing if we truly wanted to.
you say that, but we did just hit double digits for subscribers. We finally got to 10, baby.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
With every other YouTuber out there retiring right now because YouTube is completely unfair and no one gives a shit anymore, we're
Facts.
just gonna rise up.
Might as well ride the
They
wave.
can't take they can't take 55% of our income if we make no income. Fuck them, right?
Facts. Facts.
Take your ad revenue. We don't have ads.
Yeah,
We just we just promote the stuff that we enjoy.
exactly. And that's how we're going to
Man,
keep it.
that freedom. Speaking of freedom and movies, Jacob, what are some of the worst injuries you've ever had? Jacob, you slipped and fell on the ice recently and got busted up. Was that the worst injury you've ever had? Tell
There
me
you
about
go.
some others.
No, that's not the worst injury I've ever had, but it didn't feel good, that's for sure. Oh man, the worst injury I have ever had. Hmm.
You can also just rattle off some really shitty ones. That's usually how people talk when they're all hurting, or it's usually a who's had it worse game.
I do know one time when I was little, this sticks out to me so much, and I was little, like I was in elementary school probably, and we were lining up to go back inside from recess or some shit, and we lined up on the well, like where the basketball court was, so it was like paved where we were standing and shit, and the teacher had blown the whistle, and everybody's like like bolting across the playground to get in line, right? To be first in line and shit, because kids give a fuck about that kind of stuff. And me and this other kid, we were playing. Well, it's a bunch of us, but me and this one other kid were still playing the game that we were playing. It was something involving a basketball, but it wasn't basketball. I don't know. But anyway, I was running towards the line because we had just finished. I had chucked the ball out of the way, and he was right behind me. And the fact that I threw the ball like twisted him up or something, and he like his brain just shut off for a second, and he like ran into the back of me really hard. So I did a knee slide across the concrete
Ah,
while,
ah.
while his knees were resting in the backs of my knees. So I had his whole weight pressing into the back of my knees, scraping it against the sidewalk. And dude, the front of my legs were just like shredded. I remember that so well. That shit fucking hurt. Like that hurt like a butt cheek on a stick, dude. I was done.
I guess probably should have prefaced with a disclaimer, but I mean, if it's titled "What's the worst injury you've ever had?" then people ought to know. This is probably gonna not be good for squeamish folk.
Yeah, it's not gonna be. Not
'Cause
gonna be good for squeamish folk
yeah.
at all. Although we
Have
will not
you
show any images of said things, so there's that. But
maybe
if you can't handle like hearing about it, then yeah, don't listen to it.
we just need to yeah change the background and post to just blood seeping everywhere, the sounds of bones cracking.
I'll just play clips of Scarred from MTV back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what Scarred is?
No.
Oh Jesus! Scarred was hosted by Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, the lead singer of Papa Roach.
Oh.
He hosted this show called Scarred, where people would talk about their like skateboarding and rollerblading and fucking stuff like that, those kind of injuries, and it was gruesome. Like, it was fucking nasty. This one dude I remember like split open his nutsack or something like that while
Jesus.
he was grinding on a like he was doing this grind on this pole, but the pole was recently cut, so it had this lip sticking up out of it, and he fell obviously balls first into the fucking the lip of the pole, and it like slit his nutsack open, and his like
I
testicles fell out and shit.
I would have jumped back on that pole mouth first. Like if that was I'd be done with life had that happen to me. I can't. That's unimaginable pain. You can't. There's not enough testosterone in any human person's body to sustain, like, to keep you upright for an injury like that. There's
Dude,
no way.
I'd be ended. I'd
I
ceased.
would just
Past
open a
tense.
void and be gone.
Yeah. Never again would I continue on living this life.
Have you ever broken any bones?
I have been fortunate enough to not have broken any bones other than like fingers and toes. Like
I
fingers and
haven't.
toes, I have broken, but those are easy to break.
I yeah. I have not broken a single bone in my life, and like I don't know if that's like I need to knock on wood now. Something bad's gonna happen, but it was such a common thing as a kid. Like kids were always around me, always just breaking bones and shit. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's loaded with strawberry milk and Flintstone gummies. Nothing can really hurt me. But
I
I
got
was, yeah.
I got lucky though. Trust me. Like when I say I was lucky enough to only have broken fingers and toes, there are several instances where I should have broken bones that I just didn't. So there's that. But so if
Yucky, dude.
you've never broken anything, then what's a really bad injury you've had?
I I can only think of a certain one off the top of my head that was like a little bit of self surgery that I did. No, I've had like a sickness almost too. I think the most painful thing I had was, and they told me this is what it was called. I'm pretty sure it's not, but it was called musculoskeletal. I'm pretty sure that's the system in your body. I don't think it's an injury you can sustain, but I was up to no good healthy unhealthy things in early years of high school. It was like the worst time for me, but I got to a point where um I was doing, and this, like, the numbers sound crazy. You can train yourself to do it though. I was doing sets of 100 sit-ups and 100 push-ups at a time,
Hmm.
and I wasn't eating because I figured out, like, and this is for anyone out there, please don't do this for the love of God, but like when I was at my low point, I figured out if I was hungry, I could just work out instead, and I would not be as hungry anymore. It was a super unhealthy way to live because of my mindset. But I was doing that for so long that at one point, a morning, I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and everything in my body was, it just felt like a tearing sensation, and I couldn't move or breathe. I was crying for my mom to come and get me, and she took me to the hospital, and I got prescribed muscle relaxers. Those things taste delicious, by the way. You just kind of start floating. But
Oh, trust me, I know.
yeah, the doctor described what I had as musculoskeletal, where my muscles had started tearing away from my bone.
Ew.
My body was leaving my body. I was like, oh yeah, this shit hurts a lot because I'm literally splitting in half.
Like the megaton on Cold War
Yeah,
Zombies.
exactly, exactly. That was probably one of the most painful things I've ever endured.
Yeah, I bet.
I lost my abs after that. My six pack was gone.
Felt that.
I had to do a bit of recovery. Had to start eating a bit. Had to get above 85 pounds.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
I remember back in the day when I used to weigh 85 pounds.
yeah,
Honestly,
back in kindergarten,
no,
pre-K.
no, it was probably around the same time you weighed 85 pounds, to be honest. You probably just stayed at 85 longer than I did.
I think my driver's license says 85 pound. When I got my driver's license at 16, it said that I was 85 pounds. Ooh,
16? Okay, maybe not. I would have been probably like. I wouldn't have been much more than 100. Maybe 110, soaking wet. I was not very big. I'm still not very
look
big,
at
but
look at us now, a bunch of fat pigs.
yeah, dude, I haven't checked my weight in like probably over a year now. So who the fuck knows where I'm at?
I was 104 when I enlisted when I was 17, and that was barely meeting the line for my height. And now I think I'm sitting at like 122.
Oh, I know I'm more
So
than that. I'm fucking like
I'm I'm just fat now.
I think the last I checked I was 148 or something like that. But who knows? Like not my appetite, but my eating habits have been all weird lately because well, one, I've been buying super cheap, just for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But so like I don't eat nearly as much as I was. But right before this, I was eating out a lot just because I was delivering. So wherever was close by, I would just pick something up if I didn't already pack my lunch, which didn't happen very often. I usually would just grab something while I was out. But so
I'm
that could lead
doing
to me gaining weight, but my current status could be leading to me losing weight. So I don't fucking know.
I'm doing the same thing, eating out like every single day just because I'm stuck in a town away from home and I have like an hour or two between classes
Yeah.
and maybe 15 minutes before work. I think at work is the healthiest I eat. I started drinking Olipop, which are those like weird prebiotic sodas. It's like 238 for a can, so it is pretty expensive here in
Yeah.
Illinois, but
Deanna drinks
I
the
mean,
poppy ones.
yeah, but it's better than diet soda, I would imagine, hopefully, and it's still got that fizzy carbonated taste, which is what I'm after.
I remember I tried one that Deanna had. I wasn't too fond of it, but it might have just been the flavor of it. I don't know.
The lemon lime one or whatever, it just tastes like Sprite or 7 Up. It's probably the best one so far.
She drinks the poppy ones, but I think she said that the strawberry lemonade one's the best one so far. A strawberry lemon poppy was the best one.
I'll be checking that out.
She
Do
says
you
it's pretty
have
good.
injury stories?
Oh yeah, shit.
You ever oh, we have a podcast by the way. You ever so these stories get tossed around so much when I was a kid. Do you have any major like biking accident stories where oh man, I was zipping down the hill at 200 miles an hour and I flew over the handlebars and went through a school bus full of 30 kids, killed them all and almost died myself?
Not quite that intense, but yeah, I've got one. I remember I was riding my bike home from my buddy's house or something. Or no, I was on my way to my buddy's house. That's what it was. And I was like 2 streets away from where I lived or something. And I had looked down, one hand on the handlebars, and I looked down at my phone to respond to a text message. No,
Don't text and drive,
don't
kids.
text and drive, kids, because this is what happens. So I look up for a split second, and this lady in an SUV was coming straight at me, and she was looking down as well, but She's
Oh my
driving.
god, the whole world's on their phone.
She's driving an SUV though. I'm on a bike, so immediately I was like, "Oh, I fucking like overcorrected like hell. My steering or my yeah, my handlebar, sorry, had pretty much gone in like directly into my gut." And I had stopped obviously because I don't know if you know, like if the wheel's facing this way and then all of a sudden goes this way, you flip. You don't
Yeah.
continue moving forward. Period. Um, at least not in the way you want to. And the lady had swerved out of the way. I flipped over my bike, landed on the sidewalk. My bike flipped over me, and the peg had knocked me right against my fucking cheek. My bike peg from
Oh.
the back wheel came up, hit me against my cheek, which hit my head against the sidewalk. No, I was not wearing a helmet or any pads or anything like that because I'm not a bitch. But anyway, so um, but anyway, yeah. Then the impact of that just made my bike kind of like lay down on top of me pretty much. So I'm just like laying there in the road like oh, and I got up and I was like dusting myself off and shit, bleeding out of my face, and I've got this big scrape across my side. My shirt's ripped up and everything, and the brake lines were completely shredded out of off of my bike. So like the where like your handlebars connect to those little brake lines or
Yeah.
whatever, those were completely ripped out. Um, dude, my fucking wheel was bent. It looked like I had actually gotten to a wreck.
Yeah,
But
you probably would
anyway,
have been better off had she hit you.
no shit. I would have been like, well, at least I can explain this easier to my mom if you would hit me. But you didn't even hit me, and I still managed to look like I get hit. How am I supposed to explain this? But anyway, I had this big circle mark on my cheek for the longest time
from the
from the
from the
peg.
peg punching a hole out of your face.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, God damn. But she like immediately rolled her window down. I was like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm so sorry." And like she's freaking out and shit. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna walk home though." And I just like
It fall over. I
fucking,
can't.
I just walked my bike home and like explained to my mom that what had just happened, and she was like, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do about it? You know, like, what could she have done about it? You know?" But of course, my mom did the normal mom freak out, like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" and all that kind of shit. But yeah, that shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie, that shit hurt.
I wonder if there are kids out there that have not gotten some kind of seriously bad injury on a bike because I think no matter what, you kind of have to. That's like the rite of passage for initiation. If you're ready to ride a bike, is you gotta sustain some cuts or some sort of gnarly injury. You gotta have a story to tell your friends, otherwise you're not truly riding the bike, right? I had
Right.
I can only remember one time where it was something not even really close to that, but like bike physics are weird. So if you like you said, if you crank that wheel to the right instead of just leaning, you will not turn. The bike will stop and the back end will flip and throw you off because that's how the physics work for that. Also, whoever decided to put front brakes on a bike is a fucking moron because it's the same sort of situation. If you have a brake in the back tire or back wheel, you're just gonna slide a little bit forward. But I remember riding down a hill super fast, and there was a tree at the very end, and this tree was probably the width of an SUV or more. And I gripped my front brakes as hard as I could, not more than a couple feet from the tree, thinking I've got to stop before I hit it. The front wheel stops, and the whole back kicks up and throws me over the handlebars and just slams me back first into this tree. And of course, all that bark, like it's cutting up my back the whole time I'm in there. So it's like, kids, look, if you're riding bikes, just accept your fate. If you're about to get really hurt, odds are the bike is too dangerous, and what you're about to encounter is much safer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Honestly,
probably horrible advice, but maybe.
my dude, I had this almost the same thing as my bike story I just said happened, but on a longboard instead of a bike. It wasn't a bike at all, but I feel like I've told you or maybe somebody this story before. I can't remember. We were talking about energy drinks, and I brought this up. I don't know, but anyway, I was riding this longboard with my buddies Kenny, Eric, and Hovey. I'm pretty sure we're all there. And Kenny is this very slender, very aerodynamic very fast person. He's just very quick, like beyond recognizably fast for no reason. And anyway, so we're almost home, and I can see the house in the distance, and Kenny just fucking books it past me. But he's running. He's not on a longboard. He's running. This dude is just fucking flying at Mach speed past me. So obviously I took it as a challenge. So I start pedaling really fast on the longboard, some really big pedals, because if anyone's ever rode a longboard before, they're just a skateboard but longer, and they're built to cruise further distances without having to pedal extra, basically. So I'm just fucking zooming now, and I'm taking a sip of my fucking drink as a rock star or something like that. And I hit this fucking pebble. I hit this pebble in the road, dude, and it knocks me clean off of that board, dude. I'm fucking twisting in the fucking air. I'm flying. I fucking hit against my elbow like this or whatever, and I'm holding my drink the whole time, and I get up. I didn't spill a drop of that motherfucker. Not a single drop. And, I looked over at Hovey or Eric or somebody, and I was like, dude, look, I didn't spill any of that, because they're both laughing their asses off and shit. And they're like, yeah, but you're spilling blood all over the street. And I'm like, what? And I look down, and my whole arm is just like covered, like dripping blood out of my fucking arm. I had dug out. I still have a scar somewhere from it. Or maybe it was this arm. Fuck, I don't remember. Yeah, it's right here. But I had dug out all the way to the bone from the sidewalk. And I was just
Christ, man,
gushing everywhere. It was fucking nasty. And then I got
man,
really lightheaded, and I sat down because I was losing blood and drinking a shit ton of caffeine. So even better.
I was hoping that story would end with you like the whole time you're just barrel rolling and scraping up, like losing limbs, and the whole time your energy drink is safe. Hold my beer, and
Yeah.
you just stand up and go quiet when you finish it, and you just go take a sip, and then just it starts screaming at the top of your lungs.
No, dude, I didn't scream or anything. I didn't even feel it until after they had told me, hey, your fucking arm is red. Your whole arm, it's red, the whole thing. And I looked down, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that hurts really bad. And then I started to feel it. Like, I started to feel it really hard. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to throw up. And I got lightheaded, and I just sat down. And they
gotta
brought
watch
me...
out for those.
They
I
brought
say,
me
watch
water.
out for those pebbles.
Dude,
They brought you water.
Yeah, they brought me some water because I was fucking losing blood really fast and shit, and I needed to get hydrated.
Replace it with
again.
water. Yeah.
But no, dude, the fucking pedals, they'll kill you. Those pedals are literally out for blood.
That's wonderful, man.
That shit sucked.
Who knew driving was actually so safe?
Yeah, don't ever take a skateboard or a bike.
No.
Fuck the ozone layer, take a car.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm taking for my senior seminar class, which is basically like, hey, we expect more of you. You're going to be reading super dense stuff, and you're going to be writing 15-page papers. I'm doing that over climate fiction right now. So we're talking about all that shit. The whole world's gonna. By the time this episode airs, the whole world's gonna be over with. There won't be any more thin ice to stand on. It's all gonna be fucking hot earth water.
Well, it's a good thing
It's
that
gonna be
good thing
another
that
3.7 inches above sea level.
it's a good thing the AI doesn't care. It lives in the circuits. It lives in the networks.
It's in the goddamn walls.
AI is going to take over anyway, and it's not going to matter. It's going to kill us way faster than climate change.
I have I don't know if this counts as an injury. It didn't really hurt. Have you ever had a plantar's wart?
Yeah,
Dude.
I had one right here on the like this part of my hand right here, and it just would not go away.
Yeah,
No matter what
I
I
had
tried.
I had one like I think it was right here, in like almost beneath the webbing of
Ugh.
my pinky finger and my ring finger, and this was during basic training. So
Oh
we're out in the
no.
field learning how to use our rifles, and that's when I'm noticing this thing, and I think it's like a scab, and I'm picking at it, and it's not going away, and it's like a minute in that I realize it's got a stem to it. because that's kind of how a planter's wart works. It's a virus that, like, if you pick at it, it just comes back. That's all it does. It's a virus, so it will continue to grow and whatnot. You have to freeze it off or whatever.
Yeah.
I figured out science, medical science beyond freezing, because I got out. I have toenail clippers that I keep in my pocket, because you can clip off stuff and cut stuff. Keeping your nails clean and down, not getting dirt in them is also really important for safety and health. But we're just standing out there taking instruction, and this thing's really fucking bothering me. It's hurting my hand. I just start digging in there with the toenail clippers, and eventually I get down to that root and I pull that fucking thing out, and my hand's just gushing with blood.
Ugh.
And luckily I got what I like to call tactical toilet paper on me, which is like if you've ever been in the military, then you know every latrine everywhere is always occupied and it's always out of toilet paper. So if you have a spare roll, you condense it down, put it in your pocket, keep it for yourself. I'm just sitting there plucking out this fucking wart, doing hand surgery in the middle of the field, and just start wrapping it up with toilet paper, just sitting there. The drill sergeant's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Field dressing, sergeant."
I shot myself in the hand.
Stray bullet hit me, drill sergeant. I'm not going to sick call. Don't you fucking dare. You can't send me back there. But no, it didn't hurt, but that was lame. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, they're not good. They suck.
No.
They're fucking
Yeah,
dumb.
just cut it off. Be a man about it and dig it out.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Also, don't wear a helmet. No knee pads. No bubble wrap. Just take it. If you're gonna fall off your bike or your longboard or whatever, if you gotta pull out your fucking planter's wart, just do it raw.
Yeah, it's good
'Cause why
character
not?
development.
Exactly. I've got scars to tell my stories about my arm turning a whole different color.
Ooh, speaking of scars, actually, I'm remembering now. All the injuries are coming back to me. It hurts so bad. Ow! But uh, I hope you have a burn story too. But I still
Yikes.
have a scar on. I think it was this arm, or it might have been that one. I don't remember. I can't see it right now. But my second day working at Dairy Queen, I got hit with a fry basket when it came fresh out of the oil
Oh,
with bacon. You're not supposed to do this, by the way. So the guy who hit
oh,
me, he was doing the
fuck.
wrong thing. But yeah, fresh out of that whatever 300-400 degree oil with bacon, and he whips around and smacks me in the arm with it.
No, dude, I would have smacked him in the ass with it.
Smacking the ass with my dick. But that that shit hurted a little bit, and
Yeah, I bet.
I went to go and rinse it off, and it just starts bubbling up and whatnot. And I'm like, man, this hurts, but if I keep it wet, it's fine. I can make it through the rest of my shift. I've never had a burn before, and this is a second degree, which I guess is supposed to be the worst because a third degree burns off your nerves, so you don't feel it.
Yeah.
But the second you start like bubbling up and shit, you feel every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Yeah,
second
it's
it
not
dried
good.
up, if it was exposed to the air, I was ready to scream. That shit hurts so bad. I was like, hey, but I have to leave. This I would have stayed. This is fucking hurting me too much. I get home, my mom's freaking out about it. She takes me to the ER, and we're stuck on the goddamn Fort Madison Bridge because a barge is
Oh,
coming through while
no.
I'm going to the ER for a second degree burn. And we
Oof.
sat on that thing for like an hour. We had to make three separate stops at different gas stations so that I could get my little hand cloth wet again with cold water and hold it on there. I had to
Oh.
cream that baby up and wrap it up every other day. It had me squealing.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Don't pop blisters either if you get burnt.
Yikes.
That's a fat negative.
Yeah, so burn stories. Well, okay, so one, I definitely have a more minor one, but it's only relevant because the video that happened, or the video that I have of me actually getting this burn still exists, and it's still on my Facebook if you can, if you wanted to find it. But you can't tell
Oh
based on the video.
goodness.
You can't tell based on the video. Um, But there's one video where me and my buddy, we were definitely making some axe bombs and shit in the backyard, just blowing stuff up.
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
And like just,
I love where this is going.
you know, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I had found some spray paint remover, and I don't know if you know this or not, but spray paint remover is highly flammable.
Yeah.
Highly flammable. And this was like some foam shit. Well, I had taken one of my sister's Barbies or some shit like that out of a room, and I'd found an old G.I. Joe of mine, and I popped their heads off and switched them and stuff, and I had them laying on this piece of like cement in my backyard next to our fire pit. And this was years and years and years and years ago. And I had covered them in that spray paint remover, and I was trying to light them, but I was not close enough, so I was getting a little bit closer and like kind of just twitching back, you know, trying to make sure I light the fucking thing and get out as soon as possible. And I lit it, and it fucking just like really quick, and I burnt like half the fucking hair off my leg, and you can't see it on the video very well, but because it's like an old iPod Nano video. Such fucking terrible quality and shit. But anyway, didn't lead to anything significant. No like crazy burns or anything like that. No scars, but all the hair off of that fucking leg was gone that day. I was like, oh shit. That could have been a lot worse. But I do have a 2nd degree burn story, and it's a 2nd degree sunburn, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, please tell me it's from the walking video.
No. That was pretty rough.
Damn.
But no. This was way worse. This was back in 2013. My parents were visiting from Iowa or Mississippi. I can't remember where they were living at the time. I was living in Virginia, but I had just graduated, and they were visiting, and we had gotten together with some of our friends and went and spent pretty much like 9 hours or some shit, like a whole fucking work shift on the James River, celebrating, drinking, having fun, you know, hanging out. And it's hot as fuck. I mean, it's hot. And I had long hair at the time, but it was completely fried. It was all damaged to hell and shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm probably just going to get a haircut. But before I do, I want to get dreadlocks just to say that I did it. Just to see what it would look like, you know? And I was curious and shit. My hair was long as fuck. Okay, I mean, it was longer than it is now. It was like down to the middle of my back. And I had dreadlocked my hair. And the next day, I had woken up and I was the color of a lobster. I was like completely red. Like lobster red, and I was sore as shit. I was tired, like I was aching. I was burnt to hell, but it was so bad I didn't realize it until the next day. Like it was just rough. My whole fucking face, my chest, my back, my shoulders, my arms, everything. Well, it got worse and worse and worse until everything on my face started like crusting up and shit, and I was at work and like I was having cold sweats and shit. And I was like ringing somebody's groceries up. I was the cashier, and I was ringing somebody's groceries up, and I felt something dripping down my face. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I wiped it, and it was like a clear liquid.
It's like pus?
It was the serum shit that's in your blisters that's supposed to like heal your burns and stuff. I had apparently scratched a bit of it, and it was like dripping out of my head. Like, my full forehead was one big blister. My cheeks, my nose was all blistered to shit. And then I started freaking out. I was like, oh my god. I didn't realize it was that blistered. That's how big it was. Like, it was my whole forehead. So I didn't notice. It was just... all of my skin felt stiff anyway. So I just thought it was from the sunburn. I just thought it was just my skin feeling stiff from the sunburn. And, dude, after that person, I told my boss, I was like, dude, I have to go home. I cannot do this right now. And, yeah, I fucking, the next day, after not sleeping at all, because I couldn't get comfortable, I had gotten in my van, and I started driving towards the Portsmouth Naval Hospital, where it was a hospital I went to on post, because I was still a military dependent for my dad, you know? So I still had my military ID and everything, and I was going through post, but I didn't have a shirt on, so I was going through the gate without a shirt, dreadlocked to hell, burnt to a fucking crisp. And the guy
looking like an absolute fucking loon.
Yes, the dude looked at me. He's like, whoa, I'm gonna need you to put a shirt on. And I'm like, I leaned over like this, and I said, I'm going to the hospital for this right now. And he's like, oh, okay, sorry, go ahead. He checked my ID and like let me go. But dude, even he was like, oh god, that is fucking nasty, dude. And Yeah, so the doctor basically gave me Benadryl and hydrocodone just to basically help me sleep
Yeah,
because I couldn't
numb you
sleep at
up.
all. Yeah, I was high as fuck for like a week and letting my shit heal. But yeah, he said it was a second degree sunburn, and I still have very faint scarring on my back from it a little bit. But
I
that shit
feel so
sucked.
bad for not you, but whoever you were checking out as the cashier that day. I imagine someone lucky soul got put in your line and you just start oozing as you're like scanning their items, fucking dripping. You just wipe it and you go to grab the next thing and swipe it,
I
hand
mean,
them
look,
back their change, and it just like slips out of your fingers.
in fairness, I didn't even know it was happening until I felt it on my own face, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, it was so nasty.
You know in Saw 7 when Chester Bennington is like glued to that car seat and he's got to reach forward and peel himself off to grab the hand release brake?
What's
You
that?
know what I'm talking about? In Saw 7 when Chester Bennington's glued to the car seat and he's got to reach forward and grab
Oh,
the e-brake.
I haven't watched that many Saws.
Okay, well
I've
never,
only I've only seen the first three.
that's what I'm picturing you doing, trying to get out of bed during that, is just peeling yourself off of the sheets and just standing as stiff as possible, moving around.
That's nasty.
Yeah, dude, gnarly.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
I got a I got a poop injury story I could tell.
Oh, what?
Yeah, you want to hear about my poop?
Not particularly, but if it's an injury story, actually, is it a
Kind
fissure?
Is it not technically, but man, the bathroom is like my second home.
Oh my god.
But
Okay.
when I was like 13 or so, I had this one day I just couldn't leave the bathroom. My stomach was ripping me to shreds. My whole body was shivering, and I couldn't stop like releasing my bowels. And at a certain point, my my shit had turned black. I kid you not. It was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me because I was like, "What? Something's going on back there." And I looked in the toilet, and that's what I
What's
saw.
going on back there?
Hey, what are we doing in there, boys?
Don't make me
White
turn
blood
this thing
cells, get to
around.
work. But yeah, my mom was super worried the whole time because she would come up every hour and like bang on the bathroom door. She's like, "What are you doing in there?" I'm like, I'm dying. If I can leave this toilet, we've got to go to the hospital, please."
My
I
poop is
think I was
coming.
in I think I was in the bathroom for 4 hours straight before I was like, "Yeah, I have to leave somehow. I have to leave the safety of this toilet because my shit is darker than the abysmal soul of your shirt, the blackest void."
It's darker,
But
darker than Elizabeth Bathory.
yeah, and I had to Google this because it was driving me. I was like, I've never seen this before. This is probably the worst thing ever. This is worse than pissing blood. Done that too. But it's
Oof.
like, oh, you can yeah, if you take so much Pepto-Bismol or if you eat blueberries, those things can turn your poop black. I was like, I haven't had either one of those recently. And turns out if your poop has like blood on it, you're okay. That means you have like a tear towards the end of your rectum, which it can usually be healed up pretty quickly. If it's black, that means internal bleeding. If you haven't had something pink to drink or blue to eat. So that's what that was. That's my stomach hurting because something inside of me is cut open right now.
Lovely.
It never happened again afterward. I had some like antibiotics and I guess my white blood cell soldiers, they just went to work fixing me up. Thank God, because I was worried that was going to be a whole like a surgery deal. It's like I don't want a colonoscopy bag. I don't want to poop in a bag for the rest of my life. That's those are the thoughts that were going through my mind.
Yeah, I
It
bet.
hurt a lot.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it fucking did.
And the more scared you get, the more it hurts too.
Oh Lord
Dude,
Jesus.
the human body is an amazing thing.
Yeah. I
The things the things we can do is produce
I'm not gonna
nasty.
I'm not gonna talk about my shit story.
Oh man,
I ate a
make me
whole
feel alone
I'll
here.
just give you the context and you can figure out you can put the pieces together yourself, but I ate a whole block of Gouda cheese in one sitting. I'm gonna tell you right now, kids, I don't care what I said about taking it raw for the bike crashing or the skateboard crashing or ripping your planner's wart off. I don't give a shit. Whatever you do, do not eat
Don't eat.
a whole block of Gouda cheese in one sitting. I'm just gonna give you that bit of advice, and if you don't learn anything
Did,
from this video at all, please at least take that away.
did it feel real Gouda coming out of you?
No, there was nothing Gouda about it except for the cheese itself. Only
Nope, it
going
was a
in.
monster on the way out. Dude, I'm so sorry. I can only imagine
Get
because
out.
I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh man, I had never understood that kind of pain before in my life, and I, I understood it a little bit more than I wanted to after. So,
How long were you on the toilet for
uh,
that one? Give me a number of days.
no, it's probably just like an hour or two. That's why it happened so fast. Everything, my whole life flashed before my eyes.
I was hoping you'd be like, oh, it was a fortnight that I stayed on that toilet.
No, I have been on the toilet for a long time. Not several days, but several hours before from a self-induced thing. I had challenged myself to drink as much caffeine as possible in one Starbucks coffee. So I got like a large or whatever the fuck a large is,
Jesus, man.
a venti, and then I asked the lady at the counter. I said, "Hey, what is the legal amount of espresso you can put in this?" And she looked over at her boss and she's like, "Hey, how many shots of espresso are we allowed to like put in this?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "He's asking like how many are you legally allowed to put in there before you have to stop?" And she's like, "I don't know, like 6, I think, or something. I don't know. I've never had anybody ask for more than 6 though." And I'm like, "All right, can you do 8?" And she said, "I mean, I guess so."
Again, even 10.
So she put 8 shots of espresso in my shit. It was mostly espresso. And yeah,
Jesus,
dude,
man.
I was in the bathroom for a long time, dude. I was shitting so long that for the last like 30 minutes of it, I actually wasn't shitting at all. There was nothing left coming out. I could not have had anything else coming out. It was bad. Which is the exact opposite of the situation with the Gouda cheese. But that was a one and done thing though. Like there was nothing else that could have come out, but that's okay because I wasn't still trying to
I,
shit after that.
I think the healthy thing to do now is you go back and you revisit both of these. Eat the full block of Gouda cheese and follow it up with the 8 shots of espresso.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
And then you just have just like a can of spam looking turd come out and you're all good.
Oh,
You did
it's gonna come out
one
looking like
massive movement.
it's gonna come out looking like a fucking can of SpaghettiOs or something,
Jeez.
like the full can. Either that or like 30 Vienna sausages,
Oh,
all coming
little
out in
smokies.
perfect smoky shapes. Yeah, linked together like sausage links.
Hey,
I'm
here
done
you
with
go.
this. We're done with this conversation. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I've got tons of other injuries, to be honest with you. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know for a fact one of the worst ones I had was unloading at Walmart.
Really?
One of them was bad. Yeah, bad. It's my neck is still fucked up from it. Like it's not good.
Well, you
I
don't lift with your neck, dumbass.
no, I had something fall on my head and it snapped my neck
Oh.
back. It was bad,
What
dude.
fell? What fell?
It was a box of garden hoses.
Oh, yeah, those are heavy as shit.
Yeah. It was a box of fucking garden hoses, and it fell off the top of a wall. And I looked up at the last second, not realizing it was coming out for my head. And it fucking hit against the top of my head, and my head knocked back like really hard, and it sounded like a fucking glow stick, just like all at once. And
Oh my god, man.
to this day, it is the only thing that has ever knocked me on my ass while I was unloading a truck. Like, it snapped my neck back, and I fell backwards onto my ass. I've never had that happen before in my whole 6 years of unloading trucks. And I was just like sitting there for a second on the floor, like fucking confused and dazed and shit, and nothing was coming down the line. So I think Derek came in and grabbed me, or maybe it was Toby. Somebody noticed that nothing was coming down the line, and then they looked in the truck and seen that I wasn't there. So they were like, "Oh shit!" And somebody came to check on me, and they seen me sitting on the floor, and I'm like, "Well, that fucking hurt." Had this big ass mark down my face and like all the way down my chest and shit. It was rough. That
You
shit
didn't
hurt.
finish your shift that day, did you?
Yeah, I finished my shift.
Oh man, messed up.
I went and talked to I shouldn't name. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I went and talked to Michelle. I don't give a fuck. I don't work for her anymore. I don't work for Walmart either. But and neither does she. So fuck it. Doesn't matter. And there could be millions of Michelles. Doesn't matter. But I don't know if you remember Michelle or not. But she was the one that
I
was in
do.
charge, and we did not see eye to eye. But she made me fill out an incident report. Um, I didn't actually go to her for that. I went to her for something completely different, and she seen the big ass mark on my face and asked me about it. And then instead of making me go home like she should have, because I had physically snapped my neck backwards further than its capacity, she was like, "All right, well, are you good to finish your shift?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so. I don't give a fuck." And yeah, I should have probably not finished my shift, but yeah, for the longest time, dude, I had these really, really bad neck cramps and shit, and then every now and then if I'm playing games or something like that, or if I'm sitting like this, like straight up and just fine, but like not pressed against something or not leaning forward, but if I'm like just sitting like this and rested for too long and then I move, it feels just like jolts of pain going down my neck. Shit fucking hurts, dude.
You gotta sue.
I thought about it. But
Sue
yeah,
the
dude,
truck. Sue garden hoses.
I had a box of Ortega taco sauce fall on my head too. There's like 12 of those glass jars in a box, and I had one of those fall on top of my head. And I'm pretty sure I got a concussion that day. This was at the Centerville Walmart, not the Keokuk Walmart. And I blacked out for a second. Like I fucking blacked out, and I was dizzy as shit. And I went and told my supervisor, and he was like, "Well, are you still able to walk?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, well, you're good then." And he switched me out with somebody else to throw the truck, but he still made me unload. So I was still like taking shit off the line and like putting it on pallets and shit.
Thank God Walmart is hiring these doctors as managers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where would we
exactly.
be without these medical professionals that work in Walmart?
Oh, you think you got a concussion? Well, if you could walk, you're fine.
Yeah, that's like the first and only test of having a concussion or not is can you walk?
Yeah, dude, my fiance at the time, she was like freaked out. Like she had been reading up on concussions that whole day after that just to make sure like that's what it was, and it was pretty likely that that's what it was. I never got it checked out because I just am stubborn like that, but she was worried for me to go to sleep that night. She did not want me to fall asleep because I guess if you have a concussion and you fall asleep, you can go like slip into a coma or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I've had like minor concussions before, like very minor ones before, and that had never happened. So I was just being stubborn as fuck about it. But this one's probably a little bit worse than the ones I'd had before. And dude, she was freaked out. Like she did not want me to fall asleep. She was trying to keep me up as long as she could and shit. And eventually I did fall asleep and I woke up just fine. I was okay. But like, dude, I was pissed. She was pissed. She was ready to fucking call Walmart and like chew them out and shit for me, even though I told her not to, and like it wasn't a big deal, you know. Even though it was, I know. But at the time, dude, I was just like,
You
whatever,
gotta be
man.
a tough guy.
I need to make that money, you know. So it is what it is.
You end up like you get hit on the head and you're like, yeah, I'm fine, and then you see one of those Looney Tunes style bumps, just, start spawning on the top of your head.
Yeah, fucking like birds flying around it and shit.
Yeah, I thought I had one on my second day of Walmart. There's something weird with me and the second day of my job is always sustaining the worst injuries possible. I guess this wasn't the worst possible, but I had like when you're in the pet food section, you have those massive 8 foot sections of steel, and you're usually ducking under them to toss like 40-pound bags of dog food under there to lay on the shelf. And of course, me not being familiar with the environment, I just like stand back up as fast as I can to go and grab the next bag, and I bash the back of my head into the
Oof.
steel beam,
Yeah.
and I just fucking paused and stopped, and I started like shaking and scratching at my head because I just felt fuzzy all over,
Yeah.
and dealt with a headache for the rest of the day. And when I came back the next morning, I was like, I don't think I have a concussion. And I got in, and the lights were just bothering me so fucking badly. Everything was buzzing. If I went to like bend down, everything just felt like carbonated water.
Oof. Yikes. Everything felt like TV
Yeah.
static.
Yes.
Yeah, no, dude, I've hit my head on the steel a couple times pretty fucking hard. It's never a good feeling. I know that shit hurts. I've hit my head on the steel more times than I care to admit. It's just, it's not good. But
Sometimes I do it just for fun, just to see if it still hurts.
yeah, sometimes I just. Yeah, dude, it's not fun. Oh man, I'm trying to think. I broke these two fingers by slamming them in the car door.
I didn't break mine, I don't think, but my mom slammed my hand in the car door once.
Yeah,
It hurts.
my mom slammed this finger when I was really little, like really little. We were living on post, like I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 years old, little.
Oh no.
And those doors on post for those apartments are metal. They're metal fucking doors. Okay, they're rough. And we were walking out somewhere or whatever, and she closed the door and it wasn't shutting. So she thought that, oh, maybe she just wasn't slamming it hard enough. So she was like really really hard, and I was in
It's not
shock.
shutting, Jake. Put your fingers in the door, please. I need
Well,
to test this.
I didn't feel it. It didn't hit me yet. The door hit me, but nothing else hit me. The pain didn't hit me whatsoever. And I started screaming like really loud. I was like, ah, freaking out. My mom looked down and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And she freaked out because she realized at that point the reason the door wasn't shutting is because my tiny little finger was still in the doorway.
Hey, that's a really good indication as to why the door is not shutting.
Yeah, it was rough. That shit hurted. I lost that whole fingernail. That whole fingernail, like the whole tip of that finger turned purple, and eventually the fingernail fell off.
Gross.
Yeah, it was pretty gross, pretty nasty.
I I smashed my hand on one of those. I had one of those Dino Dig kits when I was little, but I had a real metal pickaxe, like a little handheld one, and I was just chipping away at that, and I smashed my thumbnails on accident as hard as I could.
Oof.
And it just like if you watch ice break apart and start floating around a river, that's what my nail pieces look like when the blood started coming through.
Oh. Yeah, I had I don't know if you ever saw that I don't know if I have it with me. It's probably in a box somewhere, but actually I think it was in that box from when we were shooting the Pizzaverse and you were like digging through the box or whatever and found the book. It was that
Mm-hmm.
it was that Arcane Circle charging pad.
Yeah.
And it's like this big. It's like about as big around as my face. And that shit's heavy for like the size of it. I mean, it's pretty heavy. And it was before I had left Iowa. I had dropped that fucker on my toe, like straight down, like it was facing this way, fell on my toe, like that, not flat like this, but like the edge of it fucking hit against
Yeah.
my toenail. And dude, I fucking dropped. I dropped on the floor and I started like grabbed it and squeezed it really hard to like apply pressure. That shit hurt so fucking bad. I was almost in tears. Well, the next day I went to go take a shower and I had taken dude, I took my sock off and it was fucking half of my toenail on was purple. Like trying to push blood through the top of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that fucking hurts, dude. Well, I ignored it, as I usually do major injuries of mine, and like 2 weeks ago, as in several months after this had happened, almost a year after this had happened, I felt that the edge of that toenail like snagging on my sock. And I took my sock off, and half of my toenail had like fucking peeled off, and I had to just rip it off the rest
Ew.
of the way. Yeah, it was pretty gross. Now it's healing though, and it's not purple anymore. It's like actually normal colored. So
Wait,
that's
wait,
good.
hang on. Do you mean to tell me that you haven't trimmed your toenails in over a year?
No, I've trimmed them, yes, but it was still split like down the middle, half of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that half of it on had finally just like taken off.
Okay, I was really worried that you just hadn't checked on what your toes were looking
No,
like
no, no, no.
for a full year.
No, 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 no. Something in translation had like finally snapped the rest of it halfway through my
Yeah, I
toenail.
got you.
Yeah. No, I trim my toenails just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I've got half a toenail growing back. Um, wasn't good. Wasn't good.
Boy, this has been a gross episode. Should have should have gone with another topic. Why'd you let me do this one?
I told you to pick, and this is what you picked. This is your fault.
Yeah, I know.
We could have been talking about
People,
celebrities or something. We could have been talking
I,
about Red Flags episode 2, but you
yeah, I could have
decided
invited
against
Maya out here again.
it. Oh shit!
Wow. Well,
Wowie!
I'm done with this. This is gross.
Let us
I've
know,
had like
everybody. Let us know what
other
your
bad things, but yeah.
injuries are, guys.
Or don't. I
Yeah,
really don't want to read about that.
let us know in the comments what your worst injuries are in the comments.
Yeah, what's the most destructive thing you've had shoved up your ass?
Or had come out of your ass.
What color is your poop? And we'll bring a chart in next time.
We'll
We'll
bring
do
one
a
of
whole
those.
episode of
We'll
just
bring
talking about people's poops.
one of those toxicity strips that have the different colors on it.
Or one of those how are you feeling charts that the doctors have where's the smiley faces at different color ranges.
Oh my god, dude. Oh man, my cousin Wiley ate one of those A1 burgers from Burger King that came out a couple years ago.
Oh
They had
no.
like the A1 black bun, like the bun was black and it had like A1 infused sauce in it or some shit. And
Yeah.
we went up there to try them because it sounded good. I like A1, you know, and I like burgers. Fuck it. So we went and tried it, and
Nope.
he had eaten one, and like not even an hour later, he was in the bathroom shitting, which wasn't out of the ordinary for him, no matter what he ate, because he just has the worst bowels ever. But he came out and he's like, "Dude, that was weird as fuck because my shit was like the consistency of green frosting, like
Yeah, that happened with
pasty green frosting."
they did like a Halloween Big Mac, I think that was
The red burger.
black buns. Yeah. Listen, if there's
Oh, the
anything
black one.
history has taught us, if someone tries to make a bun a different color, it's not gonna come out right. It's gonna be one of the most destructive things that moves through your system. Don't eat it. Don't be a part of the propaganda and the capitalism.
Yeah, unless you want your shit coming out like green soft serve, just don't have it. Don't be
Hey, I mean,
having
if it
it.
tastes like green soft serve, different story. I'm off of this. All right.
Yeah, we're done. This is finished.
Yep. Be done with it. Thank you all for watching or listening. If you made it through to the end, congrats. We did it too, so you might be in the top 3. It's gonna do it for another fantastic episode of On Thin Ice. Jacob, thank you for joining me as always, and we'll all get together next week and do this again. See y'all.
Yay, bye.